Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning. Happy Sunday to you. It's good to have you in the studio with us.
Good morning, Oji.
Mr. Komolafe.
Good morning. Good morning, Adisa.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we'll proceed with the newspaper review. We'll start, as always, with This Day on Sunday. And let's take it from the lead story for today. Federal government shoots down report of plans to convert $30 billion domiciliary accounts to Naira. Allegation aims to trigger panic in foreign exchange markets, says CBN. Federal government determined to stabilize Forex, ease living cost. Idris insists, says no political motive behind relocation of CBN fan offices. I think, KK, I'm sure that you will deal with when you are analyzing. This is an important story, to douse tension, to correct inaccurate reports out there. And I think that this is like a good precursor to the fact that the new CBN governor is coming exclusively to Arise on Arise TV tomorrow. And it will clear the air on a lot of issues. That's Dr. Yemi Cardoso. On top of the lead story, ECOWAS don't endanger our age-long bonds of fraternity. Niger Republic tells Nigeria, says it assisted Nigeria during the civil war. The Nigerians are talking and they have a word of advice for the chair of the ECOWAS Commission, who happens to be our own president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On top of that is the story of the Awujale installs Sonny Kuku as Ogbeni Oja of Ijebuland. That story is on page 8, and the cover picture is, that's also supported the new Ogbeni Oja of Ijebuland. The Awujale of Ijebuland, Obasikiru Adetono, installing the co-founder of Eko Hospital, Olorogun, Sonny Kuku, as the third Ogbeni Oja of Ijebuland at his palace in Ijebu-Ode yesterday. I saw the processions on social media yesterday, and it was so colorful, almost like the Ojudi Oba, kind of a thing. It was really colorful. On top of the masthead, US confirms sale of 12 attack helicopters, others to Nigeria for $1 billion. That story is on page 6 of today's This Day. And on the window, APC wins House of Seats in Lagos, Ondo, Cross River, as INEC suspends elections in Akwa Ibom, Enugu, Kano. Commission postpones elections in Plateau. And of course, that is to say that APC predictably won the Surulere Federal Constituency 1, where the current Chief of Staff of the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, has vacated the seat for Laguda to step in. And that story is also there. On page 8 is on the cover. Gbajabiamila, Nigerians will begin to reap benefits of petrol subsidy removal soon. I think this is part of what is said after he cast his vote yesterday at the by-election in Surulere. Those are the stories on the cover of This Day, KK. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, maybe it's be in order to start on a sharing note, and that is saying hearty congratulations to Ogbeni Oja, Sonny Kuku, an eminent personality from Ijebuland, and I think we wish him well in the onerous responsibility that he has just got. Now, I think it is appropriate, that Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has responded the way that, given the sensitivity of the issue involved, about the speculation that the federal government will force banks to convert dollars in domiciliary accounts to Naira, Because when that was raised, there were a lot of questions raised, first about the legality of it, Don't forget that the idea of domiciliary account itself, when it was created, it was, backed by law and, regulations and the rest. But the point here is that it is good, for the system that the finance minister has, clarified that there is nothing like that. And also, since we are doing press review, it's also good to have a word, for editors, especially to always weigh, the sensitivity of stories that they have. I mean, things, dealing about the financial system that's not the kind of a story, that you speculate on. It's either you have the fact or you don't have the fact. So I think, the editors ought to be sure, and it's quite clear. I mean, if you are talking of the central bank, taking an action, I mean, you can cross-check from the central bank whether it is no or yes. I mean, it doesn't take.
Yeah, but Steve was making a point about it just being speculative. It wasn't like, what was the headline again? It wasn't like affirming, saying that that's what's good. Punch's headline.
Yes,
it was more like a speculation.
It was like a speculation that it might be considered.
It might be considered.
And there was no code, but I understand what.
Yeah.
No, yes, I agree. I agree. It's speculation, but I'm saying that a sensitive matter, like something that will have effect on the financial. It's not something you speculate. On. I mean, it's not just. I mean, maybe speculation could be permitted. In some area, which even for me as a reporter, I mean, the business of news reporting should not be about speculation. It's either you have the fact because you are informing your audience. So it doesn't mean it's either you tell them this is what is this is the situation. Yeah. Somebody wants to take a decision, on an issue and is relying on your news medium to take a decision. He or she is not expecting speculation. He's expecting facts, to be reported, and on that basis, he or she then can take a decision. But I'm saying that given the implications of this is not the kind of a story that should have been.
You're very correct, KK. But knowing how the mind of an editor works, it is possible that the source of that story also matters. It is possible. I mean, you'll be surprised that that story was in quotes planted right from from the very top.
It's been said.
It is also the duty. It is also the duty of the editor to know when the source is mischievous. So the editor should be able to detect that. I mean, not all sources. I mean, not all sources.
It might not be mischief.
It could be mischief. Yes.
It might not be mischief.
No. Yes.
Knowing that there are witty things that have happened in Nigeria, that it might look that the media organization was too hasty. But then a few months down the line, didn't we tell you kind of a thing can happen? But I understand, the sensitivity of it. And the need to be cautious, but again, the quality of the source of materials that editors run on cover, is also very important, as you know, sir.
Yes, and I've seen some people casting aspersion on a media house like Punch. I mean, it's been there for ages. I think why do that on social media? Attack them in the way that they did. It's actually quite absurd to see. Go ahead.
Okay, do we go to? Are we done with?
Are we done with?
No,
because we do have.
There are other stories. Maybe you can take just one or two.
Yes.
First, the diplomatic story. I think Nigeria, should engage. The implication of that story is that Nigeria perhaps should engage Niger more, because there are two levels, to this problem. There is question of. The first fact is that both Niger and Nigeria, I don't know whether to say where or are now, because people now talk of ECOWAS and ECOWAS. Okay, in the ECOWAS, both Nigeria and Niger, members of ECOWAS, and of course the other one is the special, if you permit, special relationship between Nigeria and Niger, historical, geographical, cultural, economic, and the human, the human aspect of the diplomacy, that there are people at the border of Nigeria and Niger who are cousins, who are brothers, and the rest. So it's a bit complex, that will require a lot of diplomatic, dexterity, to be brought to bear, in tackling it. Yeah. Yes.
The Kanem Borno Empire spanned from, covered parts of Nigeria and parts
Exactly.
of Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah.
So we are the same people who are Nigerians and who are Nigerians.
Absolutely.
But they have family lines that can be traced to
It's
the
a bit cheeky to be reminding us of the support during the Civil War.
Maybe they tried the branch before, now maybe they're trying the carrot, because they are going out with Burkina Faso and Mali, but they also have the reality of we have a brother just here that we still have to deal with.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other story of interest there, or should we do this day style?
Okay.
Okay, the cover picture, this day style, is Augustine Alege, SANCON, a master class in law. He is the dynamic founding and principal partner of Alege & Co. He not only stands tall as a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, but has also carved a niche for himself as the transformative 27th president of the Nigerian Bar Association. I mean, fine gentleman there. Always good to have a man on the cover of this day's style. Steve Ayorinde, you are smiling. Should we take The Guardian as well, together with this?
Yeah.
The lead story there, The Guardian. How rising insecurity spurs retooling of FCT's governance system. You can read more on that on page 4 and 5 of The Guardian. Another story there, rerun, by-elections, voter apathy, violence mar polls. On page 2, you can read more on that. Tinubu plans executive order to address soaring medicine costs. Minister reveals foreign airlines $600 million backlog still trapped in commercial banks. Keyamo was on, I believe it was, Keyamo is saying that, absolutely.
Oh, I thought you said they cleared the
no, that's like a drop.
I believe it was a drop in the ocean.
It was a drop in the ocean. I believe they paid what? How much? Some
500
million or something like
that.
that.
Is that part of the reason why we're paying much more than any other person in West Africa? To travel to Europe.
No, these are trapped funds. These airlines have left.
I'm saying it contributes to the reason why we have
very high ticket
Possibly.
prices.
Possibly.
That too, but there's a lot more to that than just the idea of ticket pricing. There's so much more that the Ministry of Aviation has to put in place for Nigerian travelers traveling abroad. I mean, we have our local, carriers who have not been able to get those BASA agreements to go to London. I mean, we shouldn't be paying, dollars to France. If you're going to fly Air France, you have to pay so much money. If we don't have a local carrier carrying us to these destinations that we love to go to, I mean, that needs to be sorted.
Absolutely, that's an important thing that you mentioned there, because it's even beyond reading the lips of the current aviation minister.
Yes.
It's what he said clearly. And he says that he's not interested in flag carriers, that he wants to start his own, national carrier. This is a gentleman who was in the same cabinet, or the same person that you are now probing, that's messed up the whole Nigeria Air syndrome. Now do you want to go, you are looking for a better deal, when in the interim, flag carriers, dealing with those who already understand the market, can assist Nigerians, but this is what we get.
Yes, and so the $600 million backlog, this is just for foreign airlines. They're still owing our local airlines a ton of money.
Yeah.
Can you add Tribune to it so that KK can?
Yeah, so let's go with the Tribune. Most of the stories here are dealing with insecurity. The major story is killings, kidnappings in Southwest turning into terrorism. Refinery cries out. This is the Sunday Tribune. We cannot match rampaging criminals without AK-47, machine gun, Amoteku commander. Weak community policing, proliferation of weapons behind rising crimes. NSCDC commandant. Below that, we see, after contributing 7 million naira, kidnappers insist on 15 million. Parents of kidnapped Ekiti children and teachers. That's on page 4. And on page 2, we have no fewer than 60 persons killed in Benue communities, lawmakers reveals. Intending pilgrims to pay more as Hajj fares rise from 2.9 million naira to 4.8 million naira on page 5. NACOM blames increase on naira's free fall against the daughter. against the dollar, my apologies. And on page 6 and 7, irregularities, vote buying, ballot snatching, mar rerun elections across states. INEC suspends polls in 3 states over abduction of election officials. And on the top, we have over 10,000 schools shut due to kidnapping, terrorism in the north, says Shehu Sani. Bandits kidnap
10,000 schools.
I would really want to see the data on that. That is a large number
I
to
want
throw
that
out.
too.
I would love to see the data
yes,
on
yes,
that.
I like that. This one, yeah.
You know, especially from an elected official saying 10,000 schools have been shut in northern Nigeria is definitely something important.
Yes.
Under that, we see bandits kidnap a bride and over 29 other ladies in Katsina.
Yes.
That's on page 2 and 8.
We only have about 2 minutes. I wonder if you can touch on these foreign airlines, and I just got a video last night, and I'm still getting on Twitter this trending video. This person says, "What a disgrace! Travelers at Lagos International Airport scoff at Nigeria over power outage." This was yesterday.
Fan has responded.
Fan has responded as well. I mean, this.
But of course, it doesn't detract from the fact that it actually happened.
Yes.
You know, KK.
Yeah, many stories.
That's why I just helped you out there, so we can.
Okay, perhaps I think is it the Guardian story, you know, which is a human development story. That is the president planning to sign an executive order to address the drug, crisis. I think the health sector is in crisis, because of
the exchange rate,
the exchange rate, and the impact,
Yes.
both, and of course, some of the pharmaceutical companies, have closed down, and to even import the exchange rate, makes that impossible. I think that should be treated as a matter of emergency, because the health sector is really under stress because of those implications. On the aviation sector, I think there is need. The need is quite clear now that the federal government needs a lot of policy, not just articulation, but also clarification. A lot of cloudy things like both Steve and Oji were trying to point out. Semi contradictions.
Yes.
So the aviation minister should do more of policy clarification, as it articulates its new policy, so that we don't have cause to speculate. Then finally, on security, I think the leadership of the security sector, of course, from all the bad news all over the country, they clearly have their job, cut out, for them to do. But in this, I think we should draw attention to one point that, there are also occasions where you have good stories, of rescue, of when, soldiers, policemen, gallantly, confront these people. I think that's also should also appear on the headline, should be coming, so as to encourage them.
Absolutely.
And also to also pay attention, to the welfare, the safety of these people who are putting in harm's way, because when you have a kidnapping, you have, it's not just only the victims, but soldiers are killed, in the process. These men are killed, So how do we worry? Do we worry about their widows? Do we worry about their survival, and also, getting them, properly equipped? I think we should pay. The nation should, give a thought to the condition of the men and women who are actually doing the human job. Even when we are not satisfied yet with what we are doing, but then we should not only applaud, but
KK, please, let's spend the last 50 seconds on an important story on the cover of Sunday Telegraph. Refinery petroleum prices. It says crude imports from US will spike product cost for Nigerians. That's according to Ipman. And the writers say events at international market to determine how we sell Dangote. And the Meman, we're optimistic it won't be high. Dangote is about to roll out production, diesel first and aviation fuel. Are we going to have, we are back to international price determining, everything, because Dangote is also now, in addition to the 7 million naira, 7 million crude, is now importing crude from abroad.
But I believe he's meant to even import the crude because our production output he'll never be able to reach that at this point. So I think that was bound to happen for him to
What
even
about the
import
what
crude.
about the 450,000 daily for local that
But
NNPC is not utilizing?
If you recall, if you
for
know,
local refineries?
you know his output at this point is about 650 barrels per day refinery. So I mean, Nigeria as a whole,
is it starting
but
with
Nigeria
650
as a whole
from
produces
get-go?
about 1.4 million crude per day. I mean, he wouldn't be able to reach that output. So it was bound to import crude. At the end of the day, Steve, I know you're smiling.
Okay,
Is that-
we have to
am I
go
right?
any word.
Except that I don't agree with the formulation that
Yes.
it's bound to.
Well, we have to increase on our, yes.
No, what we should talk about is that what should be.
Yes.
No, I mean, not helplessness. No, I mean, I find to me there's something incongruous.
Right.
You know that you
Totally.
have perhaps the biggest refinery in the world. You know, importing crude to a country that is. I
don't understand it.
crude
We have
exporting
to
country.
I just don't
increase
understand.
on our...
Short of all
Dangote
technicalities.
is a private
Okay,
business
okay.
owner,
We
so
are-
he
we are-
has
That's what
to.
it
He
is.
has
Nigeria
to.
as a whole.
20% stake in it.
Nigeria-
But we really have to go.
I wish I had more time.
All right.
Well, all right.
That
Thank
brings
you. Would
us
like
to-
to thank you very
Thank you,
much,
KK.
Mr.
Thank you
Komolafi,
very
as
much,
always.
sir.
That brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
And I am Adesoa Giwa Osage.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm Oji Okwe from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.